Running right through Idaho's potato country is the Snake River Gorge. The only way to get across it here outside Twin Falls is to take the Perrin Bridge, which was once the highest bridge in the world when it was built in 1927. But when a famous daredevil named Evel Knievel arrived in this part of Idaho, he decided he would try to cross the canyon not by the bridge, but in the air. In the early 1970s, Knievel decided he wanted to jump the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle. But the U.S. government said no. So, he scouted the country by helicopter, searching for a comparable challenge. He got excited when he discovered this 1,600-foot wide gap along the Snake River, downstream from Hell's Canyon. Knievel went to work, leasing land on both sides of the river. Then, on top of this angled dirt mound, his team built a giant 180-foot-high launch structure, which is now gone. On September 8, 1974, Knievel climbed into his steam-powered rocket, the SkyCycle X2. He'd predicted he would reach a speed of 200 miles per hour during launch and 350 while in the air. A crowd of thousands looked on, and millions more watched on television as a crane lowered Knievel into the rocket. The SkyCycle's engine fired and shot him up the ramp and into the sky. But then, something went wrong. Knievel's parachute system deployed too early and brought the rocket to a stop in midair. As it floated down, it looked as if Knievel would land in the rushing Snake River. But strong canyon winds blew him backwards to the rocks just in time. He survived with only a broken nose. Not bad for a daredevil who had broken over 40 bones in his lifetime. The Snake River Canyon jump was one of the last for the aging Knievel, and proved that there just might be places in Idaho that humans can't conquer. And with so much wilderness in this rugged western state, it's not hard to see why.
It is now 38 minutes after. 21 years ago, Evel Knievel revved up his Triumph motorcycle and flew 150 feet in the air over the fountains in front of Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. It was a stunt that really made him famous, but as you can see here, it did not end well. Evel's bike came to a crashing halt on the landing ramp, and he spent the next 67 days in the hospital, 30 of them in a coma. These are the same Caesar's Palace fountains. Tomorrow evening, Evel's 26-year-old son, Robbie, will attempt to duplicate his father's stunt, this time without hands. The event will be carried live on pay-for-view cable television. Evel Knievel and his son, Robbie Knievel, join us this morning from KTNV in Las Vegas. And good morning.
Hi, Joan.
Good morning.
You know, Evel, you've said that this was I said the stunt was the one that almost killed you. And I just wonder, as a parent, how you're feeling right now. I mean, are you proud that your kid's following your footsteps? Or are you pretty concerned that this might kill him?
He's got a big job to do. I jumped it without watching someone fall and crash like I did and like the other guy did in 1980. And, you know, Robbie started riding when he was 6 years old, Joan, and I started riding when I was 16. I went to Caesar's Palace with 10 years of experience. Robbie's going with 20 years of experience. Records are not made to be broken. Children are born, loved, educated, and through evolution and their spirit of God within them is what makes them better athletes. And Robbie is much better than I ever was, and if anybody can make this jump, he can make it.
Dad has spoken, but Robbie, you know, your dad didn't make it, and he just mentioned it was Gary Wells, right? He tried it in 1980, and he didn't make it, and one wonders what makes you think you can do it?
Well, I've been on a lot of tours. I've traveled around and been educated through traveling, which I think is the best education a young kid can get. I was born into a business. I've been known to be this modest, kind of nice guy, but I would like to say that out of the egotistical celebrities I've met in my lifetime and the daredevils and stuntmen, I've met about 10 to 20 of them that really had some brains, and I'm one of them. And without a teacher like Evel Knievel, there'll never be another Evel Knievel, but there is a Robbie Knievel. Without his teaching and the experience I've learned from him, I couldn't make this jump if it wasn't for the 20 years of experience I've got compared to 10 years of experience he had when he jumped Caesar's Palace. And jumping at a great hotel like Caesar's Palace, gladiators of the old Rome and everything, how he came up with the idea, I don't know, but he did it. And if anybody deserves to do it, it's his son, and I'm going to make it. I'll be the last guy to try it.
Are you really going to do it without hands?
I'm going to do it no hands all the way across. I'm just totally confident. It's a day before the jump, and I'm going to land on the other side, and I'm not going to crash, and I'm going to walk away. And
He's not going to the 21 table.
It's been an emotional thing between the whole family.
That you won't let him do.
For a lot of years. My grandfather was into racing. My great-grandmother's still alive. She's the artery of the family. I'm going to be very proud after this jump, and I think the whole family will.
Just to remind people, I mean, 175 to 200 feet, that's longer than a football field. And you can't really practice. I mean, this is not something you can go out and practice it a few times.
Super Dave showed me how to do it.
It is reported, it's reported in the New York Times that this gig, if you will, could gross as much as $60 million. You're the one putting your life on the line. What kind of a share do you get?
I'm hopefully going to make some money. I won't know that until after the jump. I'm concentrating on the jump. I've been waiting for this for 10 years. It's been a big dream of mine. I just hope I make it, and I think I'm going to head overseas and then go for the Snake River Canyon. I'm not in too much of a hurry to do that.
Joan, he's not concerned about the money.
Yeah, he's sitting on the bike that's going to be used. What is your what's the last minute advice, Dad? Give him some last minute advice.
All I can tell you is this. He's not a guy like Spinks that's going into the ring in the first round and lay down. This kid is facing the toughest competitor in life, and that's death. And if he's not alive, he won't collect the paycheck. And believe me, if you want to know what pressure is and what ability is, I invite anybody that wants to sit on this takeoff ramp at Caesar's Palace and look across it 175 or 200 feet and look at the pillars he's got to go through. It's a tough job, and he's the best in the world. If anybody can do it, he can. I'm not encouraging it. I made him promise me when he was a little boy that he would never do what his father did when he laid in my arms on the way to the hospital in ambulances. And I hope more than anybody in the world that he's successful. I don't want to be known as the greatest daredevil in the world. I want to be known as the father of the greatest daredevil in the world.
Well, listen, Robbie, I certainly hope everything goes well. Evel, good to see you again. And I just want to end by reminding people at home, again, and particularly young people watching, that you should never try any of these kind of stunts yourself. They are very, very dangerous and very thought out ahead of time.
I want to read a little article from the Wall Street Journal about my next guest, ladies and gentlemen. It's on the front page, Monday, March the 17th. And the headline was, "A daredevil cyclist has a grand scheme. Will he live to do it?" Whether he ever jumps the Grand Canyon or not, Evel has already become one of the most famous and surely the most daring of the small breed of daredevil cyclists. Evel commands up to $7,500 a jump, and he says he has grossed $167,000 in the past 2 years. Evel has broken his right wrist, left shoulder, right knee, left arm, tailbone, ankles, left hip, and pelvis. I have on this very show said to Evel Knievel, "Why don't you give it up, Evel? I'll give you a job here. It'd be my pleasure." He says he just has to do it. And as a matter of fact, I think he's written a kind of a poem about why he has to do it. I know immediately our reaction is, well, this guy's got to be a kook. This is perhaps one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life, with just maybe a little more daredevil and courage than some of us, and maybe a little kook at that, I don't know. Will you welcome Evel Knievel? Okay, before we do anything, I'm going to run the film clip, which runs about 55 seconds, and let the people see what happened to you New Year's in Las Vegas, okay? Okay. Then we'll talk, and then we'll show what happened in Carson City, I think, after that. If you're ready, Dan, you can run that clip. You people here, watch it on your monitors.
This is the takeoff and the jump and the landing, which wasn't A very good one coming up
Now
here.
this is at approximately, what, 100 miles an hour?
No, I hit this about 85. George.
85 miles an hour.
I bounced for about 60 yards on the pavement, and the motorcycle went into the wall, hit the wall, went up over the top of it, caught on fire, and I hit the wall and bounced back. And made it okay.
I just thought you'd all like to know. They are doing Evel's life story. It's called Color Me Lucky, correct?
That's right.
And it start production soon in the hometown of Butte, Montana, where you're
That's
from, right?
And
You'll
Joey's-
also be in it.
Joey's going to be in it, too.
Am I? Okay. All right. Now, we've got this thing set up. I suppose if these people here had a choice individually, if they could approach you, they would say, why? Why do you do it? All right? Now, I did read something you have written, and you did write it, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And I must say it about answers it best. Can I escort you down here and have you read it?
Fine.
Okay? We'll make you nice and comfortable here, and we'll get you the microphone. This, I suppose, is, after I've read it, I suppose it sums up best how a man feels. And, Evel, tell it.
I'd like to say, before I do this thing that I put on paper, that everybody has asked me why I do what I do. And I had trouble answering that question, but I believe that this answers it best, and I believe that everyone watching, and Joey, and everyone listening, will realize when it's over that it's really the answer for all of us, for everything that we do in life, that we have done, and that we're going to do. It seems that wherever in this world I go, no matter who or what I know, people will look. Some of them stare. I wonder if they really care. They see this cane with its golden crown. Some of them smile, but most of them frown. I hear them laugh, and I see them cry. No matter what, they all ask why. I'm just like you, and you, and you, and your wife. We all have a special purpose in life. This way of life I'm glad that I found. For like you, I too make the world go round. We're all alike. Oh yes, we are. We all have a dream on some faraway star. For me, when it's over and done, at the end of a day, some can relax, but I go to pray. For I know that tomorrow, in some other place, I'll have that fear again to face. Could it be the quest for money and fame? Oh no, to play with my life is not much of a game. It's a want that's so dear, it's given me faith so that I can face that fear. Yes, I do recall in life a day when fate came along and struck my way. Each time it happened, they all said, the guy is lucky, he's not dead. They were right, but I wanted to get up, to try it again. I kept telling myself that I knew I could win. So I'd close my eyes, and to the Lord I'd pray, oh, help me, God, let me walk someday. He did. And every stitch on every scar has just brought me closer to my dream afar. To be a man, to do my best, to stand alone is my only quest. Success is a term that has broad use. For having none in life, there is no excuse. For you, what I do is not right. But for me, it's not wrong. What I've been trying to tell you all along is that it's got to be. You ask why? Well, just like Joey, I've got to be me.
I'm awfully sorry we have just run out of time. We have even eliminated a commercial, not to interrupt. I want to remind you that Evel will be at the Los Angeles Sports Arena April 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th in the Custom Car and Cycle World Show. I thank all of my guests. I thank you here in the studio, and to you out there in television land, try a little kindness.
Us back and forth. But for more insights on what Robbie is thinking right now, let's go to our Susie Colbert. Suze?
All right, Mark, we're going to greet Robbie as he comes down here, and I'm sure he has some things that he would like to say to this crowd that has gathered out here at the Grand Canyon. Robbie, it's your stage.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here for the one I would call, especially with the wind today, the #1 toughest jump I've ever attempted. I did make it to my 37th birthday, May 7th. Thank God for that. I really have to thank the Wallapai Indian tribe for having me here. It's been a pleasure. You've all been great. Thanks a lot. I would also like to thank my family who showed up today. I know my father's still having a lot of health problems. And I think I can speak for all the stuntmen around the world and thank a great man, a huge legend, a man who created his own sport and paved the way for me and a lot of other stuntmen. Thanks, Dad. I know you're home watching. I want to concentrate on my run-ups, on the ramps. The wind's not too bad. I am going to go for it. God always takes care of me. I got him on my side, and I would like to stand and, like I did before every race when I was younger, and listen to the national anthem from one of the prettiest little girls in the world, my daughter, Kristen. And also, my other daughter, Carmen's here, who just came into my family and filled a big part of my heart when she was 16 years old. And I love you as much as Kristen, and always will, and I'm glad you're part of the family now. You've filled a big part in my heart, honey. I love you. I'll see you guys after the jump.
Robbie, before Kristen sings the national anthem, we've talked so much about the landing here. What's your take on it?
The landing, I don't even care about. I want to get over that hole is all I'm concerned about. I'm going to go like hell. I'm going to live life full throttle, California Motorcycle Company. I want to also, from the bottom of my heart, tell Tri-Crown Productions, who I've worked with for 2 years in Fox, Carol Sherman, Jeff Androsky, everybody that helped and was involved, I love you from the bottom of my heart. God says you can put all the commandments into one, and that's love. Everybody keep that in their heart.
All right, proud papa, let's turn it over to your daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem performed by Kristen Knievel.
A very brave little girl and her very courageous father. When we come back, we've waited for it. With snow and rain. Tonight, the wind is here. It's here. The jump. 3 weeks ago, the weather was prohibitive, with cold, with wind, with snow and rain. Tonight, the wind is here, but everything else appears to be playing in Robbie's favor. But don't underestimate the wind conditions. Robbie can say, as he did in his remarks just a moment ago, that the wind looks good. But the first thing he said when he left his trailer, his very first statement was, given the wind, this will be my most difficult jump. And believe me, that is the truth. 15 miles an hour is the threshold, and we are well in excess of 15 miles an hour. Gusts into the mid-20s to even 30 miles an hour. Now, what I'm told is that generally, Robbie will grab a bunch of throttle, as they say it. In other words, get a big speed to try to compensate for any sudden wind gusts or even a sustained wind that would be running into the 20s and 30s. But when he grabs all that throttle, his work will be cut out for him on the other end. Because as he has to, in essence, put a constraint on all that throttle on the landing, he'll have huge problems as he runs out of ramp. That's the takeoff ramp. Robbie cannot see the landing ramp from that takeoff ramp, and that's because the landing ramp is so much lower. The canyon just simply doesn't match up. There is a reason that people don't jump the Grand Canyon. This is one of them. The canyon edges are not even, so that the landing ramp is well below the takeoff ramp. That's one of the huge problems and ongoing challenges that Camp Knievel has faced. Bill Rundle, Robbie's lifelong friend and his chief mechanic, reviewing with him everything that could go wrong and everything that could go right about this jump. We told you that from a technical standpoint, the bike is fairly sound. They found too much grease that they burned off of one of the wheels. But at this point, the bike is running well. You may say, well, why does he go back and forth on the takeoff ramp? Why doesn't he just do it? The fact is, he has to get the feel of the bike. There are no speedometers on the bike, for example. Robbie is one of those people who really believes in his instincts and really believes that the best way to do it is to get the feel of the bike, and that's what he's trying to do now. This is a crowd that has swollen substantially through the day, made up of many Wallapai Nation tribespeople. You can hear them in the background, and also many friends and family of Team Knievel. That's again just a practice run. When Robbie actually takes off remains something of a mystery right now. It will be imminent. It's going to be within a couple of moments. But what run he actually decides to try to hit the gap on, right now we can't say with certainty. He'll have to just feel that it's right. The gap is enormous. He'll have to be traveling at close to 100 miles an hour to make it cleanly. Let's go over to Susie Colbert. Susie?
Mark, I spent a lot of time up on those ramps the last couple of days, and the key really is the focus. It's almost impossible to stand up there and not catch the canyon in your peripheral view, but that's what Robbie must do, is block everything else out, focus specifically on just the ramps, on what's ahead of him. Mark?
Well, it's interesting. The Wallapai people actually have a name for the kinds of winds that we've seen just in the last few minutes here. And focus or not, these devil winds, as they're called, come right up out of the canyon. And they can materialize out of relative calm. And that is what we've seen here. Rundle is yelling something to one of the crew. And Robbie is reorienting himself. Bill is yelling actually that there is I believe he's yelling that there is a small, is it a fire? Is that what he's saying? Someone else? Now, it's nothing to worry about. It's one of the fireworks, I believe. You can see them attending to it actually below Robbie's position. So that's all Bill was worried about. It's nothing that will threaten the jump. You can see Team Knievel yelling back and forth about something. There's something that they don't like. Robbie looks like he has all the determination that he had this morning. When we first arrived here, after what happened 3 weeks ago, I looked at Robbie and I said, "Are we going this time?" And he said, "Absolutely, no matter what, I'm going." And he has that confidence and that determination as he pulls up to that takeoff ramp one last time. Well, now the Team Knievel members who were on the landing platform are clearing. It looks like they are getting ready to jump. Gary has given him a go-ahead. That's Gary Davis in the checkered shirt. If you're just joining us, Robbie Knievel live. That's Bill Rundle, his head mechanic. On his left, Robbie Knievel will attempt to hit this gap. Family members are gathered. His daughters are here. His mother is here. This is a long-awaited moment. A lifelong dream for Robbie Knievel. And the degree of difficulty is unquantifiable. There was no way to rehearse it, no way to practice it. This looks like it will be the jump run. The winds continue gusty, but they've slackened just a bit. They still look like they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 miles an hour. Remember that landing ramp well below the takeoff ramp. Robbie can't see it from where he is now. He can't see where he's landing. He'll have to orient himself right. He'll have to hit his speed right without a speedometer, I remind you. And they'll have to land perfectly. Focus, the intensity. He'll need 2 of the 5 gears that are on that bike. He'll start in 2nd, and he'll take off in 5th. When he lands, it's all break. Here's the run. Knievel attempting to jump the Grand Canyon. Yes! He's hit the gap. He makes it. He's off the bike. He's made the gap cleanly, but just as feared, he took the tumble when he hit the cactus in the dirt. The minute he got off the ramp. Those are EMTs handling the situation now. They're the first ones on the scene. Is Robbie okay? That was a nasty tumble he took when he hit the dirt. That was a tremendous force of impact. Remember, he's coming down at over 90 miles an hour. We are waiting to hear and see whether or not Knievel is okay. I've mentioned that there are medevac units standing by. They will put him on that flatboard. That's Gary Davis. Let's go over to Dan with Gary now. Dan?
Gary, we think he may have a broken leg.
But the helmet came off, which is a very good sign.
Yeah, we got the helmet off him. We were having trouble. It was his head kicked crooked, so we couldn't pull it off as smooth as we'd like to.
Stay back!
He's okay. He may have broken his leg, but it was a hell of a ride.
He was out over, I can't say, 220?
Oh, yeah, he's well over his long jump record. He landed farther down the ramp than well, he landed where I said that I didn't want him to land. He landed below that second mark. He told me if he landed out there, he'd get vaulted off the bike, and he did. He rode a hell of a ride.
Gary, we're going to go to replay right now. From your memory, as you see it happening, in your mind's eye, he took the ramp perfectly, had great height. Was there any drawback at all to the jump, besides the land?
He got cocked in the air. He was a little cocked. He got the bike cocked in the air. He came down with the front end too high. When it slapped the front end down, it threw him off.
Get away from me and let me...
Yeah, he is actually calling for people to leave him alone for a moment. But you can see he hit the takeoff very cleanly, and he hits the landing cleanly, but then he gets oriented forward. That's exactly what Gary's talking about. Right here, the bike gets oriented forward. And of course, it's not helped by the fact that he runs out a landing ramp and hits the dirt. But the best news is that Robbie Knievel has survived this incredible jump. There are Robbie and Gary now. Dan?
One heck of a jump.
Get away from these idiots. Come here, Dan. We're both still alive.
Gary Davis here.
Here's a shot of the takeoff from the helmet camera that Robbie wears at close to 100 miles an hour. That's what it looks like to fly over the Grand Canyon. And here is the landing way down the landing ramp. So that's why they were talking about perhaps a new record in terms of distance. And then you'll be able to see as he runs into the dirt and heads head over heels over the bar that we lose the camera. But you can imagine the jubilance. Everyone's rushing up to Robbie because, frankly, we didn't know that he would live through this. Here is Robbie's jump again, and this the Grand Canyon. These are his daughters looking on. Take a look. Yes! He's hit the gap. He makes it. He's off the bike. He's made the gap cleanly, but just as feared. I was saying, just as feared, he ran out of landing ramp, and he did, but you can see the Knievel daughters running to his side. Everyone is elated, broken leg or not, to see Robbie Knievel achieve a new world record, 228 feet. And as suggested, he had so much speed off of that takeoff ramp, he was actually able to sky himself 228 feet for the new record. Here's another replay. And again, the landing he hits well, but then when he runs out of ramp, he becomes oriented in such a way that there was just no way to stay on the bike. There's his takeoff. Remember, he can't see the landing. Now he sees the landing strip, and he's able to hit it. He hits it well, but way down the strip. And you can see the front wheel begin to give. It is remarkable when you consider the things that could have happened, that he emerges with only a broken leg. Robbie Knievel, a triumphant moment. Gary Davis at his side, and Team Knievel comes over to congratulate him. Among them is our Dan Moriarty. Dan?
Look at here.
Then you started to go over the handlebars, but you got the dirt.
I got Robbie here. Robbie Knievel. Robbie, do me a favor. Here's your camera. Here's your fans. Talk to me, man.
Well, I'm a little dinged up. I hung on until I crashed, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
What?
You rode it to the ground.
Hey, Art. God bless. Nice to see you.
Rode it to the ground.
Robbie, you jumped halfway to Vegas.
Hey, Lonnie, how you doing?
Just fine.
I might need you in a minute.
Oh, no, you're looking good. You're looking good. I'm here.
I'm walking. White man can jump. That's right. You. All right, man. What canyon we at? I'm still knocked a little silly, but thanks everybody for coming. I'm a little dingy in the head. I'm not sure what's going on right now.
You're over that canyon.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, it will be an evening of Robbie being congratulated, I should say, and an evening of thanks. He has so many people to thank.